Ever since Wano, the largest One Piece arc ever, ended, most readers have noticed a refreshing change in One Piece's pacing. But it's not just that things are moving faster. There are some distinct changes in Oda's writing style recently that suggest that he really has streamlined the rest of the story, such that the final stretch of chapters will flow very differently than not only Wano, but from all the preceding post-time skip arcs. After all, Oda took a month-long break where he stated that he would cut down the rest of the story to only its essential elements. And while that was cause for alarm for readers at the time, from what we've actually gotten so far, it seems like the endgame of One Piece is set to be possibly the cleanest, most well-paced, and consistently exciting phase that the story has ever had. And today I'll be breaking down 3 key changes that have been implemented ever since Wano ended. But before we get into it, I want to ask you, do you want to get the most relaxing and comfortable sleep that your body can possibly get? If so, then you should be using Helix Sleep, the sponsor for this video. Helix Sleep provides premium mattresses that are customized for your specific needs that are delivered straight to your door with free shipping in the United States. Look, you probably don't actually know what mattress is best for you. That's why Helix Sleep figures it out for you. They have a quick online quiz that takes into account your body type, your sleeping positions, your firmness preferences, and comes up with the ideal mattress specifically for you. For example, I sleep on my back. I like medium firmness, and I like a mattress that can adjust to any body position, which is why I was matched with the Dusk mattress. And let me tell you, it has been way better than what I was using before. I've had the Dusk mattress for over a month now, and the biggest difference I've noticed is that the shoulder pain that I used to suffer from is now completely gone. If you follow my streams, you know that I suffered from shoulder pain for a long time that just was not going away. As it turns out, my previous mattress was way too soft, so it wouldn't give my shoulder the proper support that I needed. But the Dusk mattress is just the right level of firmness and malleability for me, which has made every night's sleep way more comfortable and has me waking up feeling perfectly rested and with zero pain in my back or shoulder. This is genuinely the most comfortable mattress that I have ever slept on because it genuinely feels like it is perfectly suited for what is comfortable for me. So get your own custom mattress today. There is zero risk because you get a 100-day free trial. So you have plenty of time to decide if you like it. It's all rolled up and easy to set up by yourself. If you don't like it, they will pick it up for you and give you a full refund. Plus, you get a 10-year warranty, financing options, and flexible payment plans. I can honestly say I love my Helix mattress, and I think you would too. If you're looking for a new bed, just check out Helix. You can click the link below or go to helixsleep.com/MrMorge and get up to $200 off your Helix mattress plus 2 free pillows. So that aside, to begin with, by far the biggest change that seems to have taken place is the cutting down of characters. I think for the first time ever in a One Piece arc, it seems like the characters we are working with are only the characters that are truly needed for the arc. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, Oda is an incredibly imaginative writer. A lot of times it feels as though he may throw in a lot of extra fun characters into an arc just for the heck of it. Even if they don't really serve a purpose, the quirks that they bring can make the story feel more lively. For example, Chimney and Gonbei, these random extra Galila company members that accompanied them all the way to Enies Lobby. Even the Yokozuna. None of these characters were truly important to the Water 7 Enies Lobby storyline, but they were unintrusive and entertaining in their bit roles, and helped add to the sense of scale of the large alliance forming to take on the world government. However, I do feel that the further we've gone in the New World, it's started to feel as though arcs can become really bogged down with just swarms of ultimately unimportant side characters. And while many feel this was especially notable with Wano, to the point that an entire chapter was centered around introducing 5 mafia heads that served under Hyogoro 20 years ago in the Flower Capital, who each ultimately did absolutely nothing of note in the entire war, really this is something that has been more and more noticeable since the start of the time skip itself. Right away we saw the trend of just lots of characters for the sake of characters at Fishman Island, with a minister of the left, a minister of the right, extra prince number 1, extra prince number 2, random stuff like that which sets the trend for the rest of the New World, as Oda simply cannot help but add more and more whenever he can. We need to learn about the entire Tontada village, all of these Smurfs and Smurfettes, Big Mom's entire family, and even though Sanji only originally had one mean sibling, since only one is really needed to get the point across, he's ultimately given 3 mean brothers because why not? I think we began to reach a point where characters would be added simply for the sake of adding characters, so that we had more quirks, more fun character designs, just more, and at a certain point that leads to some degree of overload, where the actual story and the actual central characters don't have as much room to breathe. But here we are now in Egghead Island, and this island only has one character, Vegapunk. All the bodies we meet are the same person. They're all just Vegapunk. The Straw Hats are only interacting with one person, because we only really need to be interacting with this one person. There is also one and only one accompanying side character, and that's Bonnie. That alone has done wonders for Bonnie as a character, since even though she's only been around for a few chapters, she's gotten a lot of time for a lot of interactions with the Straw Hats, and time to build up her character conflict for the arc. Because right now, we are really only focusing on the characters that genuinely seem to matter to the Egghead Island arc, it feels like everything is flowing very smoothly without any wasted or filler chapters really, and the storytelling feels very tight and focused so far. That is something that I feel could very possibly extend to the rest of the story even beyond Egghead Island, as at this point, it almost seems as though we don't really need to introduce that many new characters from here on. Since, from here on, it feels like all the major players, the Revolutionaries, the Marines, the Yonko crews, the other great pirates, even most of CP0, these are all big organizations that have been built up, established, and fleshed out over the course of the series already. It doesn't feel as though we need to get a bunch of new side characters introduced every arc at this point, because the cast that we have heading into the final war is already really huge and really well set up. Honestly, some of the final most important pieces are those that we are getting to learn about right now in this arc with Vegapunk and Bonnie. And that brings me to the second major way that Oda's writing style has changed since leaving Wano. That is that we are finally merging the macro and micro worlds of One Piece's plot. One Piece readers have gotten very used to Oda's usual pattern of getting an arc that is entirely focused on a specific island, with all plot focus and attention being concentrated in that one location. And then only after the arc's story has resolved, is there a brief but exciting period of world building, where we get to zoom out and see how things across the world are developing, generally moving the plot forward on a more macro scale. Even though that does make for extremely exciting post-arc storytelling, I remember during certain past major arcs, such as Dressrosa, Whole Cake Island, and Wano, some readers would talk about arc fatigue and how they're really looking forward to the post-arc developments more than current events. However, it feels as though now we are at a point in the story where these two sides to One Piece's plot no longer have to be kept separate. Sure, we had crazy developments post-Wano, with the Blackbeard pirates attacking Amazon Lily, Cross Guild being formed, the destruction of Lulusia Kingdom, and so on. However, it feels as though this hasn't quite stopped, even though now we are in the middle of the Egghead Island arc. Even as the arc is going, we are continually getting cuts to the outside world. We see Blackbeard versus Trafalgar Law taking place simultaneously. We see Sword plotting to take Kobe back. We see Pudding being kidnapped in a cover story. We see Dragon and the Revolutionaries dealing with Kuma. And considering CP0 is about to attempt to kill Vegapunk, I wouldn't be surprised if we got cutaways to outside parties such as the Gorosei or Im keeping tabs on the situation. I think a large part of this is simply because we have reached a point in the story where there is finally no longer any need to draw lines between the Straw Hats' adventures and major world events, since from here on, everything, including the Straw Hats' adventures, falls into the category of major world events. The entire world is falling into chaos, and whatever is happening here on Egghead Island is just a piece of that, which will likely have an effect on other pieces in real time. I mean, even if we assume that Elbaf is the next arc, there are many theories that Elbaf won't exactly be a self-contained adventure, but could be the destination of other major pirates such as Kid, Blackbeard, or even Shanks. Because all the gears of the world are turning, and we are now at a point where Oda is trying to convey a sense of a world in motion, it seems like we are set to get more and more bits of major outside world activity mixed into the chapter-to-chapter events of Egghead Island, which is basically One Piece at its most exciting. If I were to compare it, it would be similar to the sense we had during Sabaody, where the Strats were having their own storyline on the island itself, but we were repeatedly being fed news and glimpses of other major events taking place simultaneously, some even playing into the Straw Hats' experiences on the island. And finally, the last biggest change that seems to have come out of the streamlining of the story is that it feels as though Oda has cut the extra fluff from his last set of arcs. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the New World as a whole, a lot of the pacing and lengthy storylines come from the fact that, as Oda himself has explained, he just has so many ideas, and if he had his way without any editors, he would stretch One Piece across more and more islands. Punk Hazard was supposed to be 2 separate arcs of a Fire and Ice Island. Dressrosa and Green Bit were supposed to be 2 separate arcs. Even the long, dense storylines we are getting already were in fact supposed to take place over even longer time frames. And the thing is, that makes no sense, since if you really look back at it, even the final arcs that things were cut down to aren't all that necessary. Every New World arc, from Punk Hazard to Dressrosa to Zou to even Whole Cake Island, were build-up arcs to Wano, where Kaido and Big Mom would be defeated. However, looking back at it all, did we really need a full 50-chapter arc devoted to Caesar Clown and establishing that Smile Fruits were being developed, considering Smile Fruits and even Caesar's poison gas weapons weren't exactly that huge of a deal in the grand scheme of things? Did we really need nearly 100 chapters for Whole Cake Island, which in terms of overall plot effect mainly just resulted in being a trigger to send Big Mom over to Wano? To be clear, that's not to say that this makes those arcs bad in my opinion. For instance, I enjoyed Whole Cake Island just because I enjoyed the story that we got out of it, but I'm talking purely in terms of efficiency in storytelling. If we look at the long journey from Punk Hazard to Wano, you can go through a lot of it and point out large chunks that aren't all that necessary in this overall storyline. Again, it seems that by his own admission, Oda's natural tendency is to simply want to draw more arcs, because he is an extremely imaginative creator. And so we could be looking at an alternate reality where we took even longer to complete this storyline if he had his way without editors. However, with Oda stating that he took the month break partly to streamline the story and end it as fast as possible, it turns out that it does not mean he is rushing it. Rather, this may have been the best decision possible, in that he may have whittled the rest of One Piece down to just its most necessary arcs and plot points. Because at the moment, it seems like, as many of us hoped, Elbaf is the next arc. And it also sounds as though between the current Egghead Island arc and the Elbaf arc, between Vegapunk's knowledge and the secrets from Ohara that have been stored with the Giants, we are going to be getting extremely close to completing the puzzle behind the full lore of One Piece, which would suggest that Laugh Tale and the final war are right around the corner after that. Not to mention, major pieces already seem in play for many plot lines to come together over the span of these next couple arcs, with parties like the Blackbeard Pirates, the Red-Haired Pirates, Cross Guild, the Marines, and the new revolutionary movement led by Sabo, all taking action already, meaning that it's simply not possible for things to be dragged out over many arcs. There are too many dominoes that have already started falling, meaning that from here on out, it seems as though there is essentially no fluff. There may not be more arcs added just to pad out the story. I don't think we will ever again have a situation like Wano, where we first hear about this faraway goal, and then we go through countless detours and side quests before eventually making our way there in the most roundabout and dragged out manner possible. Again, not to say that the journey there isn't enjoyable, I'm just saying that it seems like right now, everything is firmly on a clear track at this point, where only the absolute most necessary arcs are left. So I honestly believe that we are entering the most exciting phase of One Piece, with storylines being pared down to their absolute most essential and most interesting components, with Oda no longer hesitating to rapidly shift between micro storylines and macro storylines in the outside world, and with seemingly only the absolute most essential storylines even making the cut for the final saga. So let me know if you agree with these changes in storytelling, if you enjoyed the new direction, and if you enjoyed this video, then definitely like, comment, and subscribe, and you can get my extended thoughts on this and all future topics by becoming a member. Just hit the button below.